Welcome. This video is to tell you all about our 4-stroke friction drive kit for adult 3-wheeler trikes. Here you see it on a Schwinn Meridian trike. It basically mounts on the front forks. You have a friction drive roller that will power the wheel. You can get these trikes up to 25 miles an hour with this kit here. I suggest you be very careful. That's really faster than you can safely go on one of these trikes, particularly if you want to make a panic stop. Next, let's show you the major components of the kit, and then I'll show you how to install the kit on an adult 3-wheeler trike. Okay, here is the friction drive 4-stroke motor kit for an adult 3-wheeler trike or bicycle here. Your main component, you've got the motor in a separate box. We've got the friction drive assembly here. You've got the U-bolts here. We've got the 2 arms that go from the mounting frame itself to the friction drive assembly. You have the clutch adapter, the bolts, the Allen screws for the clutch adapter to mount it to the motor. You've got the throttle cable, the throttle assembly, and you've got the mounting assembly here, the adapter that mounts to the forks. First off, on installing the friction drive kit on a 3-wheeler trike kit, we need to take a look at it and see what type brakes we have. Here in the picture you see a V-brake setup. We need to remove the V-brakes and the posts off the front fork to allow for the mounting frame to mount to the forks. We're going to have to cut that off. So what you're going to do in order to remove the V-brakes, you have to push the 2 arms of the V-brakes in. That will enable you to lift the cable out of the little notch in the holder there. Pull your cable out. Next, you need to remove the 2 screws that the V-brake arms pivot on and remove the V-brake arms. Remove every bit of it here. Now you will be left with the 2 posts, the post on the right and the post on the left-hand side. We need to cut those off. You can use a hacksaw or you can use a cutting disc on an angle grinder. Whatever method you choose to use, be careful, wear safety protection, and you want to be especially careful not to cut into the fork itself. You only want to cut off the little bracket that the post is mounted on. Just enough room so we can lay the mounting frame in front of it. Here is how the mounting frame will go on the front. What you will then do is take the caliper brake, which is included in your kit, push that through the hole in the fork. You may need to drill it a little bit larger to allow for the post to go through, and then put your nut on it, fasten everything up. Next, you need to position the 2 U-bolts onto the forks, clamping the mounting frame firmly against the forks. You want to get it snug, you don't want to get it too tight. The metal brackets there aren't very stiff, but all you want to do is just get it stiff enough to where it's not going to move around in operation. Tighten that up. Now that we've got the mounting frame mounted to the forks, let's go ahead and get the motor mounted to the friction drive assembly. Here you can see I've got the clutch adapter over the clutch bell with the 4 Allen mounting screws inserted. Looking inside of the friction drive assembly, you can see the 4 mounting screws already in place. As you can see that they're pushed through the clutch spacer. Now that clutch spacer will then be pushed into the motor. So here you can see the clutch spacer and how it's going to mount into the motor. Press the motor fully into it, tighten up your 4 screws. You've got the 2 holes drilled into the friction drive assembly where you can push a Allen wrench through and get everything snug. Now that we've got the motor snugged up, let's go ahead and mount this up to the frame member and get it mounted on the trike. You've got the bolt here in the back. We're going to put it in the middle hole that's drilled. So basically you've got the bolt, you have the arm for the mounting assembly, you have the little pop metal keeper here that has the tab that holds the little arms in. You have the friction drive assembly, and then on the opposite side you've got the other keeper. You've got the bar, the arm on the bracket. You have the flat washer and the nut. It's kind of a tight fit, but you can get everything in there. That's the way it's designed to work. Now we've got to look at the front of the friction drive assembly here. You're going to need to remove this entire assembly here. On the left hand side you have the little lever, the handle. Beneath that you have the small little cupped adapter, or the little washer assembly. Then you have the silver spacer with the notches in it that accept the bar. Then we have the friction drive assembly. Then on the right hand side you will see the other silver, the adapter, the spacer, and then finally the nut. What we need to do is remove all of that. Then we're going to put it back on in that position here, and we're going to put the two arms into place. Bolt your two support arms onto the lower part of the mounting frame using the 8mm bolts provided. On the Schwinn Meridian, I put them on the uppermost, the fourth hole. Now, as you can see here, we've got the lever, the dished adapter, then you have your support arm, then you have the support arm, which is then pushed into the notches in the little spacer. Then we have the friction drive assembly. Then on the right hand side we have the other spacer. Then you have the right hand support arm. Then you have the screw which holds it in. What this allows the front of the motor and the front of the friction drive assembly to rise up and down. You can see the roller back inside there where it's meeting the tire. We need to make adjustments to this and find that sweet spot where it's not too loose to where the friction roller spins too fast and it's not getting grip on the tire, nor do we want it pushed down too hard to where it's going to be binding the motor and not allow the motor to rev up. More on that later. Next up, we need to mount the throttle assembly and the throttle cable. You're going to remove the upper cap piece off of your throttle assembly, thread in the throttle cable, push it through the threaded hole here, and what we're going to do, that little bent tube there, that is going to screw into the throttle housing. You want to leave about a thread or two at the bottom. You have the jam nut. Do not over tighten the jam nut. This is a plastic assembly. Just get it nice and firmly tight by hand. Will do for now. Here you can see the throttle grip and how the cable mounts into the throttle grip. You've got the slot and the hole. Here it is on the handlebar. Now make note of the cam that is on the throttle assembly, the white cam part there. If you look, you can see my mouse cursor here. You want to make sure that that does not go down inside of the throttle housing. It'll make it difficult to put the screws down. Tighten up your screws, get them somewhat firm, not too tight. Remember, it's plastic. Next, you need to push the throttle cable into the adapter on the motor, and you can see the little silver round part here that has a slot cut into it. The throttle cable, the end of the throttle cable needs to go inside of that piece. Here you go. You can see me manipulating the throttle, and you can see the linkage on the carburetor as the throttle lever is turned back and forth. Next, we need to connect the kill switch wires. You're going to push the black to the black. The two red wires you will need to trim, splice it, twist the wires together, and cover it with electrical tape. Okay, we've got the motor set up here. We're ready to hit the road. You want to fill it with unleaded gas. Want to make sure that you've got oil in the motor. You're going to fill it up 10W30 oil, 30 weight oil from the automotive store is fine. Basically, you just want to fill it up to where your oil level, you can look down in the neck here and about where my fingernail is. You don't want to fill it any higher than that. Here is your choke lever, which you're going to use in starting. This down is the running position. Raise it up for starting. I've got it raised up into the starting position here. Now I'm going to manipulate the throttle. Give it just a little bit of a turn here, and you can see the linkage there move just a little bit. Give it just a little bit here. You've got the choke on. We've pulled back on the throttle. Grab your rope, give it a pull. You don't want to pull super hard. It's not a superhuman test here of your strength. Give it a couple of pulls. The motor will pop, spit, sputter. As it does, manipulate the throttle back and forth a little bit here. We need to slowly warm the motor up. You can slowly turn the choke down in the running position here. Okay, so be sure and use your pedals when you first want to take off. What you're going to have to do here is figure out the proper adjustment for your friction drive roller where it meets the wheel. You will use the lever here to loosen it up. How this functions here, this will lock your friction drive assembly in place. What I typically tell people to do is just press this down to where the friction drive roller meets the tire. Press it down just a little bit. You're going to run it more than likely you will hear the motor slip a little bit. Obviously that tells you we need to press it down a little bit. When it slips, you'll give it gas, the motor will rev up higher. What we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly work it down to where we can get a good speed out of the bike here. If you press down too hard, which for some people they press too hard and the motor won't be able to get up to speed. So what you're gonna have to do is find the sweet spot, play with it up and down, find that sweet spot, get it locked in, and basically keep it locked in on a bike like this here. Or as well, like I said, you'll get the feel for it, but play with that. This rounded tire that comes with the Schwinn Meridian is not the ideal tire for a friction drive setup. So ultimately, when you do have to replace your front tire, go with a tire with a flat profile, a standard beach cruiser tire, and you'll be that much better off.